Hello, everyone. It's Mike from Downtown Comics, and I'm here as always with James Rossman. James, how are we doing today?
Good, Mike.
Good. Hey, we both saw the Fantastic Four
We
movie.
did, yeah.
I've seen it twice.
Oh, you have?
Just to let you know. Seen it twice.
Okay.
Yes, and we're here to talk about it. So we're going to do non-spoilers first, and then at some point we're going to warn you, and then we'll go into spoilers. So let's start off with, did you like Fantastic Four? First
I did.
steps.
I really did like it. Obviously, Shia LaBeouf is in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler, and I really liked her Silver Surfer.
Yes, I think we'll talk more about her as a character, but yes, I did enjoy this movie quite a bit.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
I think the big thing for me was the vibe of the world.
Yes. Yep.
And I think we talked about this when we saw the trailer and we did our trailer reaction, that it had that Disney Tomorrowland
for sure.
look and vibe, and that's exactly what it was. I mean, down to the fact that, and I was just, it's just kind of a goof where it's a world where they have spaceships and faster than light travel, and yet they use 1960s cameras.
Yeah, exactly.
and of course, in the real world, technology almost never progresses. Like, you can't go this way with one thing and then this piece of technology doesn't go anyway.
Right,
so it's just but it was really good. The whole vibe of the costuming, where everyone's in this, like, they're all wearing the hat, like all the men are wearing the hats, like it's the 60s and stuff like that, and the women all seem to be in that kind of 60s dresses and stuff. Is I love that.
I mean, okay, so before we really get into talking about Fantastic Four,
right,
big question is, did you like Fantastic Four more or Superman more?
Okay, yeah, you said you were going to ask that question. I said I'd have an answer. All right. I think they're both rewatchable.
Oh,
so I will say that. They're both rewatchable. I would say, I think I liked FF a little bit better, a smidge. Only because I thought the Superman story was a little bit, it wasn't quite A to B. It kind of veered off. And then with so many different characters, you got a little bit less of Superman, I think. Whereas this movie was only focused on the Fantastic Four, and the story was A to B.
It was.
Like, I mean, we'll get into it later. I guess it's maybe a spoiler to say that, I mean, because I guess I thought from the trailer that maybe Galactus wasn't necessarily the plot of the movie, that it was maybe something that comes up towards the middle and the end. Yeah. But Galactus is really the plot of the movie. Sure. I mean, he's that danger, that whatever of the movie is introduced very quickly within the first half hour of the movie. You're like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing for the rest of the movie. Yeah. So that would be the only thing where I thought that the Fantastic Four got a whole movie to shine without being distracted by other things. Where Superman, you had an extended period with Mr. Terrific and Superman, which was fine. He's a great character, and and all the other ones running around. So that was it, by a smidge. By a smidge. I would say that on the action side, Superman had more action than Fantastic Four did, I guess. So if you want a little bit more chaos in your movie, Superman seemed to kind of move at a faster clip. Like Fantastic Four, even though it wasn't a long movie, was very...
it was right under 2 hours.
It was right under 2 hours, yet the pacing was more like... not slow, but it was deliberate, I guess, where Fantastic Four had a little bit of caffeine going, the Superman movie did,
Yeah, you almost got whiplash a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Things are always happening and stuff. Fantastic Four, they did take a lot of time to breathe and have conversations and stuff like that. So yeah.
Because I think and I don't remember what interview I was reading, but they were basically saying how And maybe it was Kevin Feige when he went to see the Superman movie. He was like, basically, he's like, oh, you don't know who Mr. Terrific is? Oh, you don't know who this character? Oh, tough. You'll figure it out as you go. So
yeah,
I was like, okay, yeah, Fantastic Four was definitely not, it wasn't an origin story. I mean, we got a little bit of how they became to be.
Yeah, and I think the best part about both movies was that they didn't waste a lot of time trying to explain all the characters' origins, their powers, their, even their interpersonal dynamics. Again, I don't know whether we should get into I guess it's not a spoiler to say that the Fantastic Four are fully formed by the time this movie gets going, but you do get a really nice kind of intro montage into their basic history.
Yeah, you do.
And
just enough.
And it gives you just a little bit of how this world is. And I guess I'll talk about more of that in spoilers maybe.
Yeah.
So what in terms of the actors, in terms of the four main cast, what did you think of?
So I really liked what was her name? That played Vanessa Kirby.
Vanessa Kirby.
I really liked her as Sue Storm, actually.
Yes. I thought all the casts were great. I really did, but I thought the standouts were Vanessa Kirby. I thought the actor, and I'm sorry, do you have the name who played Human Torch?
Joseph Quinn.
Joseph Quinn. I thought he did really good job.
I think so too.
And we'll get into maybe other things, but I thought his character, out of all of them, probably was the best written. Like the other characters, I think you could go back to the past movies and maybe see like, oh, okay, this Reed was pretty well done, or this Sue was fairly well done, or whatever. But I think this Johnny Storm was probably the best Johnny Storm.
I think so.
I think the story gave him a lot to do. I think his characterization was more nuanced than it had been in the past. Like he wasn't just comic relief.
Yeah. And that's what the first Fantastic Four,
kind of thing. And he had a purpose to the team. Like, again, even in the comics, Johnny Storm had been that kind of hanger-on. He was just Sue's younger brother who happened to be with them when they got their powers, and now they're all together because he has powers. Where in this one, he's a member of the team. Yeah. He's actually one of the scientists or contributive, he's one of the contributive people. He was part of the original space mission. He was there for a purpose. He wasn't just, he didn't like sneak onto the ship or something weird like that. And again, even though he's still a ladies' man, obviously they don't dwell on that. They don't make a big deal out of it. He's not simply cracking jokes or being goofy or whatever. He has an arc. And we'll talk about his relationship to the Silver Surfer character, which I think is an important part of why the Silver Surfer is the way that character is. So, those are my two favorites, I think. Yeah. So,
I definitely agree with that. And I think even in the first two Fantastic Four movies with
Chris Evans.
Yeah, Chris Evans as Human Torch, I feel like that was a little bit, he was a little bit too much in your face, where it kind of took away from, definitely took away from his character, I think.
Well, I think they went the more, I guess you could say comic booky aspect of the character, where he is more of the goofy one. He's definitely, and this is the other thing, I didn't feel that Sue Storm and Johnny were that separated in age. It seems like in the comics there's more of an age range where when she was a young adult, he was still a teenager. So there's always that maybe 5 to 7 year difference, which makes him seem a lot younger than her. Where this one, it seems like maybe they're only 2 or 3 years apart. In terms of age, and so they're really more of a brother-sister team. Like they have it seems like they have a better relationship than just like, oh, you're my older sister, and that kind of thing. I don't know. It's that was it. So.
Yeah, speaking of like the actors, what'd you think of Pedro Pascal?
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, a really nuanced take. I think he did some stuff in this movie that was, Reed is a tough character, right?
It is, so
he's got to be the super smart one and stuff. But I think because I can't define it, I think that is the best thing I can say about it. Is I just his take was very nuanced. He was emotional, so he was emotional when he needed to be.
Yeah.
But he still came across, and they have very specific dialogue about this, that he was all about thinking through problems, no matter how bad those problems are, and trying to solve them.
Consider all outcomes. Or,
but he certainly also wasn't played where, there is a reference to him neglecting the human side and the emotional side of things in terms of the relationships. But they don't overdo it.
Yeah, no.
They don't make a point of overdoing it, like, oh, he's always in his lab working kind of thing. There is a little bit of that, but I don't think they play it up to the sense where he just ignores other stuff going on. He knows what he is, I guess. He's more, again, most of these characters know who they are now.
Yeah,
like, they avoided the whole Ben Grimm thing about, oh, I'm a monster.
Yeah, dealing with
it's obviously still there in the characterization, but he's come to grips with it, right? And that's part of the brilliance of the movie, is the fact that he's at a place where he accepts what is, and it doesn't stop him from living life. Like, he's not a recluse. He goes out in public. Yeah. People know who he is, And again, in this world, I don't know. I mean, I'll give you what's your take? Do you think that the Fantastic Four are the only superpowered people in this world?
I was thinking about that as I was watching it. I mean, I didn't they say at one point where this is like a one and done type of like. This Fantastic Four will still be in, I think.
Right, like on this world. I don't know.
Okay,
I guess like I said, they leave a lot to the imagination.
Yeah.
But even the villains that they face that are name dropped. So they name drop some villains. They seem, in the dialogue, it seems like they are not necessarily super powered.
Yeah, right.
Like, they are criminals, but most of the ones mentioned have powers that are not necessarily like energy beams and stuff. So, and we can get into who those people are in spoilers. So it does seem like this world, it's kind of like the first Superman, the original Christopher Reeve Superman, where they're the only ones. And the other thing that I'll say is also because the world seems also designed by Mr. Fantastic creating new technologies. Like, that he's done a lot of this. The reason why there's flying cars is because of him.
Yeah, and it's nice too where, we're obviously, like we talked about, we're past this whole, like, everybody's used to the Fantastic Four.
Right.
Like, there's not, we're past that where it's not like this, which is really nice. Like,
right. Well, nice, and they're heroes. They're heroes not only of the United States or their city, but the Earth. And that's the other thing. It's like there's a lot going on there. So, and what about, like, so did you like the aesthetic as well?
I did. Oh, for sure.
The world and
I
stuff.
really did. Yeah.
And then what
and
about
their costumes?
Yeah. And then what about so let's go with Silver Surfer and Galactus. Like, how did you like the way they were portrayed in the movie?
Shalabal. Yeah, I think.
Shalabal.
Okay.
Yep.
Like, I loved, like I mentioned earlier, like, I loved her Silver Surfer. I probably even more so than I can't remember the
whoever did it, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's in the trailer where she's like the I Herald stuff. Yeah. So like, just that line, and like specifically, so well done. I loved it. Like,
yeah, and what about Galactus? What did you think about him?
That it was really neat to see, and like actual on screen Galactus.
Yeah,
like,
and props for them again.
So
not making it goofy.
Yes,
like,
you're right.
The scale at which they're able to create this character is such that at no point you're like, oh, it's a goofy guy in a big helmet with horns and he's all purpley and stuff like that.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's just...
It's legit.
It is. It's legit, and it's well done. The voice was great. The acting was great. Like you, I thought Silver Surfer was awesome. I also appreciated the kind of effort they put into making the board that she rides on makes sense in terms of how she flies through the universe and everything like that. And we can get into that later. But I like the level of detail that they were thinking about this character, having it make sense. She had her own little side story that was enough to, give her agency and stuff.
Yeah.
I have nothing but good things to say about.
Yeah, without getting into any spoilers just yet, just being able to see like humanity within the Silver Surfer was really cool to see.
Yeah.
She
certainly she wasn't a robot, or she wasn't an automaton, or whatever you want to say. I don't know. Any other thoughts about the movie in general that you want to talk about?
Without getting into spoilers, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think. I guess the big thing for me is, and it's a weird thing to say, but this is probably one of the first superhero movies that I think I've seen. And it gave me, just even the first 20 minutes gave me Incredibles vibes.
Yes.
I think they did look at Incredibles and say, these guys kind of did a proto FF movie 20 years ago that really resonated with audience. We at least should look at this and see, because they kind of did this. Incredibles kind of did the same thing, where they took the first 15 minutes of the movie to kind of show us the world and how superheroes reacted to it.
Yeah.
And the same thing about this world was, it's probably one of the only live action superhero movies I've seen where the world is like nice. It's a weird statement to make, but at every point in the movie where I thought there'd be like, okay, here comes the conflict between humanity and the superheroes. It was diffused by a well thought out thing that because the characters do a couple things, and I'm like, well, why did you do that? That seemed like a really dumb thing to say,
right?
Knowing that in our world that would be bad,
right? Yeah,
and yet in this world, it's just not. It was just a weird feeling to watch this world, and like as we get into the story and spoilers and stuff, everyone's working together.
Yeah,
there's no big turn from any character I've got a secret plan behind it. It's just it really is. It's a way you come out feeling kind of like, oh man, that's refreshingly weird. So yeah, I guess that was my big takeaway, even more so than Superman. Superman was kind of the same thing,
right?
But in Superman, they made a point of making Superman that character,
right? And there was
as opposed to there was conflict in the world, but Superman was the character that stood out from that. And this one is like, no, there is obviously conflict of a normal kind, but in terms of just like the society, it seems like everyone's on the same page, kind of, I guess, for lack of a better word, which is just, that's fantasy right there.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
That's a fantasy world. All right. Okay, so yeah, let's go into spoilers. Let's stop beating around the bush. All right, so you guys got another, till I count to 1, and then we're going to start talking about the movie. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You've been warned. All right, so
kind of actually going with what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Sue Storm literally went down when all the humans were banging at the doors.
Yeah, so that was the 2 point. The first point was they come back from meeting with Galactus, right? And they say, what happened? And Reed flat out tells them, well, he would have spared the Earth if we give him the kid. And I'm like, well, why would you tell them that? Why wouldn't you just said, well, we had they could have made up anything.
Yes.
But he literally tells them the truth.
Yep.
And they're like, what? Huh? And then you're like, oh man, this is going to get bad. And then you get to that scene where they're outside the building and they're all looking and the crowd's gathering because they're like, you're going to let us die for your kid and just give the kid. And then, she goes out.
Just talks to them.
And just talks to them, and everyone listens, and and she has a speech, and she has a great line. It's something like, I would not give up my child for this world, but I will not give up this world for my child. And they're all like, oh, well, okay. We can buy into that.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. And then the other part was when they come up with, all right, so Reed comes up with a solution. We're going to build all these teleportation things around the Earth, right? And then they go out there and they say, we've got, we need all this stuff from the, you guys all got to get together and give us all this stuff so we can build these things. So they got to tell the world we need plutonium and we need iron and we need steel and we need all this. And at some point during that process, and then when they have to say we have to turn off power to all the world because we can only, when we turn it on, we need all so we have to sacrifice power. I thought for sure there'd be some sort of Latvarian thing over here that wouldn't turn off their power, or there'd be some sort of side little plot where, because they do a pan across the world government they create. Yeah. And Latveria is not there, right? They, it's an empty chair or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that didn't happen. Yeah. It was just like, we're all going to get together. Yeah. I mean, it literally would have worked.
It made you feel good,
until it would have worked till Silver Surfer came in and just started blasting them all, right? Mm-hmm. And at the last second. And I guess we can roll it back. So so what did you think about the beginning, or did you know? Were you surprised by that the plot was basically Sue pregnant, Galactus here? This is what we're dealing with. Like, did you think that was going to be the straightforward plot of this movie?
I didn't, because I just didn't think that Galactus was going to be as in this movie as what he was.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be more like towards like you said earlier, like kind of like maybe a little bit past the middle towards the end. I didn't think that this was going to be like, oh, hey, he is pretty much at the beginning, and they're, that's when they go and teleport and, they come face to face with him. But I liked their whole reaction to Galactus and how just insanely huge he is.
The best scene for me for the whole movie was them going up to meet Galactus.
Yes.
Like that whole from the beginning of the space launch to them finding the planet to them going and facing Galactus, and the scale, just amazing. Amazing scale. But then the chase scene that happens afterward.
Yes.
Again, going back to Silver Surfer, talking about her from a design standpoint, and from I just love that whole chase scene. Her so her presence at the beginning of the movie, then Johnny chases her, and then when she's just done talking to Johnny, she's just like, boop, I'm gone. You see immediately how far more powerful she is than anything they could throw. She just, when she wants to enter their ship, she just hovers through it. Problem. She goes through the helicopter. She doesn't need to destroy it. She just dematerializes and flies off. She's not cruel or anything.
Right. Yeah.
If she doesn't have to destroy a helicopter to get away, she doesn't have to do anything to Johnny. She's just like, well, I'm out of here.
And the fact that when she in that chase scene when she goes she goes inside the ship, or their ship, and she almost
grabs the baby. Right.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh.
But then you've got her, just her power level, right? Yeah. It's clear her power level is just so far above. So then it gets to when she's chasing the ship, and they've got her riding. She's riding like a surfboard, so it doesn't matter where she's going, whether it's through clouds or air, or through the dust cloud of the black hole, or through the warp wave that's going, the light speed wave. She's riding it like on her surfboard, and so I just thought that was really good. It's just really, really cool to see. They didn't have to do that; they could have just made her go straight. Yeah, and the surfboard's just surfboard, but they gave it that extra she's gonna be riding it, that was cool. I thought that was
a lot of
really
details.
Cool.
A lot of details in this movie that you're thinking, you're like, I feel like not just anybody would have definitely not didn't do anything like that in the first two Fantastic Four movies.
The
second one,
and then we get to why they made her, because everyone was, as soon as they saw that she was a woman, it's like, oh man, she's a girl, it's not Norm Rat. Well, now we find out why. It's not just they wanted to make her a woman, it's because Johnny Storm needed a good arc in the script, and because in the original comics, part of the reason that Silver Surfer turns against Galactus for humanity is because he does start to strike up a friendship with Sue Storm. There is a relationship there between the two characters, And so that's part of the reason he turns against Galactus, right? Yeah. But in this one, if they do that, then Sue Storm's already got an arc. She's having a baby. She's pregnant. So to add on to that just is too much.
Yeah.
And so Johnny Storm now is given the relationship with Silver Surfer, which in the end is going to have Silver Surfer make the ultimate sacrifice. And so making her a woman makes more sense.
Which he almost tries to make that sacrifice himself.
Right. Yeah. Well, exactly. But I mean, that's that's part of the reason she does it, I think. Yeah. Because there is a connection. But it's not, and he makes a couple of jokes about the female, female thing. But ultimately, yes, that gives Johnny the agency, and that's why I think his character was so well done. Like he has stuff to do in this movie. He is not just an afterthought.
Yeah.
Like he is very influential in translating her language. He is also the one
which was crazy in itself.
Yeah,
I'm like,
and
holy crap.
And then also he's the one that eventually is the one that allows her to make that leap and take out Galactus at the end. I mean, without him, she doesn't do that. Yeah. It's just another planet to her. But he's the one who kind of opens up her mind, like, hey, you may have saved your planet, but you
Yeah, because, I mean, she essentially sacrificed herself for her whole planet.
Right, which is great, but then she's wiped. I mean, she's got blood on her hands. Yeah, how many more?
So
and is it worth it? Right. Yeah. So I thought that was great. Yeah. Like I said, I thought Johnny Storm was one of the best realized characters only because his characterization is so much better than it has been in the other movies.
Yeah, I hope. Definitely.
What about Herbie?
I loved Herbie. It really made me want to buy one of those the Herbie drink. I was like, man.
Yeah, again, I love the techie part of it, where it's he's analog.
Yeah,
like
where he takes out
the tape, tape for the space, like good. Home for space.
Yeah,
and the fact that they didn't need him to give, because he does say stuff occasionally, but I couldn't understand half of what he said because it's got that kind of electronic whine to it or whatever. And I thought that was great. Like they didn't give him they didn't get some sort of cameo from some superstar to give him a voice and make him, they didn't. I think he's cool and they can sell toys for him just because he's got a cool look and he's he's cute and kind of funny. But they don't go out of their way to make him try to be cute or funny. You know what I'm saying? He's like just there, and they're not going out of their way to do it. And I thought that was great. Again, the whole movie aesthetic of we've got teleportation, but then all of our TV screens are like these analog, and like the graphics on all the stuff is like 1980s Apple computer graphics, even though Reed is doing massive calculations.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally trying to freaking transport the Earth, and you're like, wait a second.
And I just want to say for you old school, so you're not gonna get. Have you ever seen the movie Black Hole? Okay, it's an old Disney movie. It's on Disney Plus. If you ever want to watch something, it was super ass weird for its time. It was Disney Star Wars. Back then. I mean, that was there. Like, after Star Wars, every studio wanted their own Star Wars. Black Hole was Disney's attempt at Star Wars.
Okay.
But it's a trip. Now, it's going to come across as goofy as hell, because it is. Black Hole is goofy, but it's got a vibe, okay? And it involves a black hole, and this is what I'm getting to. Who directed this movie now? Again? I don't know. I would have to Google how old he is, but I guarantee you either the script writers or the director is a Black Hole fan, because specifically what I'm going to reference, if you ever watch Black Hole, is when they are in the black hole scene, okay? Or right before I don't know, somewhere in there, they're hovering around the Thing and Mr. Fantastic are hovering around the table in the middle, and they're kind of floating while they're looking. That's from the black hole. Like there's an exact. It's an homage. It's got to be an homage to the black hole, because it's so much like what they did in the black. Because they're in a spaceship going towards a black hole to do a thing, and they have a console in the middle, and they're kind of raised above it like they're floating. It's it's
well, that's
totally black hole homage. I'm guaranteeing it. Some reporter asked the writer or the director. Definitely a black hole homage.
That's awesome.
But so yeah, Herbie was great.
Yeah.
The Mole Man.
I was thinking about that when we were talking about spoilers.
Yep.
Yeah, the fact that they got him, well, essentially, when he arrived at the Baxter building and, he was like, kind of saying some funny stuff towards Reed, and Sue's like, okay, this is what we really need. Like, and he just helps them, like,
right. And again, that's the nice part of this. Like, you get in the opening, you get the Mole Man attacking, just kind of like the comics and stuff. But yeah, you find out that Sue Storm, she kind of helped create the world government that they're under now, which is another subtle nod in the script that I love. Is they specifically make a reference to the fact that they disarm their militaries. Yeah, which is one of the reasons where Galactus' ship comes. They don't even there's no big thing where the military flies out a bunch of jets or they launch nukes at the ship or anything. I mean, Reed specifically says, throwing nukes at it's not going to make a difference. But sure. In most movies, the regular governments would try to throw military stuff at them, and then the Silver Surfer would have to destroy a bunch of jets or whatever. That doesn't even happen in this one. So it's a really good subtle nod there. But anyway, they make peace with the Mole Man, and they give him his own country, I guess, for lack of a better word. So there's a subterranea thing underneath New York where there's an actual they all live. The Mole Men people live or whatever.
Yeah, they give him his kind of his own hero arc.
Exactly.
Which is nice.
But the first time I saw him, you watched Cobra Kai, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you yell in your mind, "It's Cobra Kai"?
Oh,
because it's the guy from Cobra Kai. It's I don't know. I forget what his name was. Stingray. Yeah. It's Stingray from Cobra Kai. That's the only thing in my head. But I thought that was great. He was a little good comedy relief and stuff.
For sure.
And still an important point to the fact where they just like the new Superman did, when they're setting up their plan at the end, Ben Grimm's like, there's a lot of buildings and a crap ton of people around here.
Right.
Galactus is gonna roll right through.
How are we gonna get everybody out of here?
and so then they make a point of spending 5 minutes evacuating it, so that when the buildings are coming down and stuff, you're not all like, oh man, there's thousands of people dying and stuff like that, Yeah. And again, other things like I talked about the world being nice. So there's other when they were in the situation where they didn't know what they were going to do. The world was kind of, some of them were wanting them to give up the kid, you know, and Ben Grimm was walking down the alley and the kids ran by and they said, what about us? We've got families too. It's just like, it was there, but it wasn't some sort of weird where he gets attacked by people that throw stuff at him and call him, it's just those kind of subtle things in this movie were like, wow, that is refreshingly different than the way.
Yeah, this movie definitely takes a lot of the tropes that happens in a lot of movies and takes them out.
Yeah,
essentially,
and then you kind of feel weird about it. You're like,
you do. Yeah,
like I said, the whole thing. I'm just like, man, there's no weird turn at the. It's just it was. It was again.
Why can't the world actually be like this?
But even in a movie, you'd feel like that. You'd think like a script doctor would be like, oh well, there's got to be a weird turn where one of the characters doesn't, wants to try to sabotage this for his own nefarious purposes or something, and it's just not there. Yeah, it's just there's a problem to solve, and they go about solving it. And then
that way they can really you're not fighting the human side of things, and then you're not. And then fighting Galactus as well,
right?
Where it's just like, oh my gosh, like how do we do this without hurting a bunch of people? So that was nice change.
And then what about let's see, what other things? The family dynamic I liked the way they interacted. Like I said, it wasn't over the top. Yeah, they talked to each other like a family. I like the fact that they had this kind of unspoken communication, like when Mr. Fantastic would say like Johnny, he would just like yep, and then they're like so they're already working as a team. It's and they're not getting in each other's way. They all kind of know what their job to do is, and I don't know. It was just it's just kind of it's stupid to say, but it's
Right.
just like they were just like working together as a team, and I don't know.
Now, my thing is, I guess more of a question is, when Galactus came down to Earth, like he obviously shrunk himself, right?
No, I don't
No?
think so.
Okay,
because
so
what Ben Grimm was like this,
yeah, that's true.
this tall to his foot.
That's
so
true.
no, it's
yeah,
just
okay.
the scale. I think they the way they shot the scene in the ship, and because it was low lit and everything else, I think there was an effort to make him look bigger than he was. But no, he was still 40 stories, 50 stories tall. Now in the comics, obviously, he is literally as big as he's bigger than planets.
Right, that's what I was
And he
thinking.
shrinks himself down to go to the planet to like make the, it's a different thing in the comic. He has to build the machine to, instead of driving around in his planet killer, he has to build the machine that sucks the energy out of it. So it's just a kind of a different, but no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they, and obviously they show you that he can be not hurt, but annoyed.
Yeah,
like there was some stuff that just he didn't care one whit or another. But when Mr. Fantastic opened up kind of like the vents in his body that expelled like energy, I guess, or whatever, that kind of bothered him. But yeah, I mean, Ben threw a truck at him, and stuff, and I mean that was all good. Was there anything else? Spoiler. Oh,
Franklin.
We'll get Franklin in a second. Yeah, I guess the other thing that I was talking about, so I was talking about how they maybe have the only superpowers in the planet. I think the other reason I get to that is he does make mention of who? Diablo.
Yes, yeah.
The wizard. Obviously the ghost and his apes, super apes. The ghost and the super apes. And then there was one more. Obviously you have the mole man, and then there was I think one more that he mentioned specifically. He was doing prepping for the baby. Part of the prepping for the baby was the fact that he basically threw out all the info needed to take down all of their, but he specifically says gang and criminal organization, which make me believe that there is a Diablo, but he's not necessarily the Diablo of the comics, or if he is, Diablo was a guy that just did alchemy, which is not necessarily a superpower. He could just be a chemist who's making a bunch of drugs, and they call him Diablo. And then you had the wizard, who was just super smart. Well, okay, he could just be a super smart guy, and then of course the super apes could be just like, scientists doing experimentations on apes, and they became sentient. So there was no real reveal of any kind of superpowers in the realm of what the Fantastic Four have, It was kind of all stuff that could be like, oh, well, this could just be a natural evolution of just people doing weird stuff.
Yeah, it was
so
definitely pretty much almost the exact opposite of Superman.
Right, where everyone has Superman.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, there's already these, other heroes that people know about, and they're already, so that was kind of a cool take.
Okay,
like
so Franklin.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy at the very end. I mean,
it was. I thought Franklin was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was interesting. I didn't see it coming that Franklin would be the impetus of the way they tied, because they do a good job of making Galactus' story kind of comic book realistic. Galactus starts out as the last surviving person of a dying universe that then gets shunted into the new version and then becomes Galactus. And his job is just to go around, and he's like, I guess, a gardener culling various life from the cosmos so it doesn't get overgrown with life, because that's just as bad as getting overgrown with death. So again, he's more of a natural thing. He's not doing it because he's evil. Although this Galactus did seem a little pissy.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
And when he saw Franklin, he saw, instead of him doing it until this universe dies, he saw a way out, like early retirement kind of thing.
Yeah, and it was really cool to see how, like, when Reed Richards was like, we've done these tests, we've done so many tests, he's normal. There's nothing, nothing off about the baby, it's no powers or anything.
Right.
And then Galactus is like, oh no, he's like super powerful. Like, you know,
he's just hiding it from you.
Right, yeah. It was cool to see like Reed Richards, you know, being as smart as he is. He's like, wait, what? Like, are you sure? Like, no. So I like that. Dynamic as well.
But then the ending, yes, when he brings, I mean, I assumed that was going to happen because obviously Sue Storm wasn't going to die.
Exactly.
I didn't really think. I mean, it was emotional. Trust me.
Oh, for sure.
I was, again, you know, the story continually was like, oh, I didn't think it was going this way, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But no, Franklin has power cosmic.
Yeah, and he's, if I remember right, he's like one of the most powerful mutants.
Yes, in theory, in theory, he's the most powerful mutant potentially. You know, but they screw around with Franklin in the comics. He's been all kinds of different things, different ages, different power levels. There's no concise through line for his characterization. So you know, so they can do whatever they want with him. So
that's true.
Yeah. So, but on the ending, did you have any preconceptions when they were getting to the climax? And you know that I mean, the big thing is that Thunderbolt's stinger was out there with the ship, their ship being in the core Marvel universe. Did that enter your thoughts at all as you were going to the ending? You're like, how is this going to end? Like, did you think they were going to connect to that scene?
I thought so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what?
If it was like in a post-credit scene or whatever.
But so how did you have any preconceptions on how you thought it was going to end? Or were you just letting it ride and you were just going to
I don't think I really did. Yeah, I think I was just kind of letting it ride, yeah.
Okay, I had, yes. Okay. I couldn't help myself. But as it was getting to the end, I had like 2 or 3 thoughts. It was like, okay, this teleportation thing on the Earth is going to work, but it's going to shunt the Earth into the Marvel universe. Okay, and that is going to start the Secret War incursion stuff. So the part of the Secret Wars is the concept of these Earths from different multiverses getting shunted together and then destroyed. So I thought that it was going to succeed at the end. They were going to get it to work, but it was not going to teleport them to another part of their galaxy. It was actually going to, because obviously they name drop the multiverse at the beginning. Yeah. He says that the equation's like, so he made a miscalculation or something happens or a mistake. It gets shunted into either another Marvel universe or the core Marvel universe. And that would start the whole incursion thing, which would start our road to Secret Wars.
Which I think I would have liked. I mean,
that was the first one. Yeah. The second one was that, I had multiple.
Nice.
I had multiple. Galactus wins.
Okay.
I thought there was a chance that Galactus did, in fact, destroy the Earth.
Right.
And that the Fantastic Four basically used the teleportation gate to get out of their universe. Okay. So their ship would show up because they were running from the fact that Galactus had destroyed the universe.
Okay.
Some version of that. And then I think there was a third thing that I don't remember off the top of my head. But there was like 2 or 3 ways it could go. And honestly, the way it went was like, oh, well, okay, it went that way. And I was, that one's the more logical one.
Right.
That left it as its own movie. So I'm glad they did that. Because I was being a fan there at the end. I was like, well, how are we going to connect this to the bigger thing? And, the second time I was able to just watch the movie. And then I was like, this is the way it should have ended because it's its own movie. And there's no need to shoehorn it into, the rest of the movies and stuff. So I like what they did. It's just, my brain was just going there.
Now, with having seen it 2 times, do you think that... Did you think it was too easy for them to do what they did with Galactus? Like towards the end when they...
No, because I think they set it up that Sue was not going to let her baby be taken. And there's always been the theory that Sue is the most the most powerful one on the team, number 1.
Yeah, she really showed it.
And then number 2, Galactus can be physically moved. So he can't be hurt,
right?
But he can be physically moved. He obeys the laws of gravity and everything like that. Like, even Silver Surfer was able to be. They made a point of showing Sue being able to knock Silver Surfer around a little bit with her powers, right?
Yeah.
And she seems to be able to defy the laws of gravity and physics and and being intangible. So if Sue can move that around, then Sue can move Galactus around. So no, and I mean she expended everything she had to be able to do it. I mean they could have made the baby enhance her power. It's like, but see that gets a little. I think showing you like the mother's love and that kind of like the whole really concept of a mother being able to lift a car off her daughter, those kind of stories, that kind of that kind of thing, and just making that part of it. I didn't have any problems with it.
Yeah, no, neither did I. Which I mean, Galactus wasn't beaten; he was just pushed into
exactly. And then he still wasn't beaten until Silver Surfer made the
which actually
sacrifice.
Makes me wonder, like what, like because they are together wherever they are. It's like what's happening?
Well, I mean, it's possible. I mean, in theory, they're shunted within this multiversal universe. Mm-hmm. So even though he's separated from his ship, I think Glax would probably have to forgive her, and then they'll just move on to eating other planets.
That's what,
because ultimately that's what now he may say you have to go find the Earth because I want this boy, but who knows?
I hope,
but he doesn't have a ship, so so I don't think we'll see him again because there's just, I think we'll see him again, but I don't think it's like. They could do it where they were actually shunted into another multiverse, and bring them back, but I don't think so.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Is just,
which is kind of a bummer because I really would like to see Shalabal again.
Yeah, it's not out of the not on the right. Maybe she does leave Galactus, and if she's able to keep her power, maybe she is able to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, how would she?
Who knows? Yeah. What else did I have? Did I have anything?
Yeah, let's see if we can.
The Jack Kirby stuff was cool.
Yeah, the 828.
Yep, that was cool. I like that, and then I like the the end. I guess I gonna end up liking the fact that we don't know how that spaceship gets to Thunderbolts. They didn't connect it, so the little teaser with Doctor Doom is interesting.
That was
because. Number one, is it going to be the Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom? Mm-hmm. We don't know that. Mm-hmm. Number two, is the Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom the Doctor Doom of this universe?
Right. Yeah.
So is that the one we're seeing, the Doctor Doom of this universe, or is it a Doctor Doom from another multiverse coming here? So we just we don't know any of those answers.
Do we know if?
All we know is there's a Latveria.
Right.
But other than that, we don't know there's a Doctor Doom. He's never mentioned.
Yeah, that's true.
So, we don't, and we don't know what version it would be. So that's all up in the air. And then the last one doing the whole cartoon thing was funny.
That was a nice touch.
That was funny. That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
And I like the callback to Clobber in Time. At
what
the
time
end.
Is it?
Yeah. Say it, Ben. Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah. And I thought there was some funny stuff, but they didn't try to make it funny. There was it's just like they didn't shoehorn in humor. And they didn't, and I know another trope of Marvel movies that is sometimes kind of reviled is the whole, we're going to have a serious conversation, and then at the end of it, we're going to deflate that tension with a joke.
Right.
They didn't do that here. They had serious conversations, and then they moved on to other stuff. And there wasn't necessarily this like, oh, we're going to end this with a punchline or some sort of, joke. So
I think that was... And I think that's also where like the Superman Fantastic Four movies differ, where there was definitely there was a lot more comedy in the Superman movie than I thought that there was going to be.
Right.
So it was nice knowing, like, seeing this and not being like, okay, well, I feel like I'm kind of almost like forced to laugh here a little bit. So that was nice.
I didn't think that Superman was overly comedic either, but there was a little bit more of maybe there's a couple more attempts at having a punchline or something like that. But no, I think both movies succeeded in giving us a world that felt lived in, where we didn't have to know. we could just follow the characters and what they were doing, and we didn't feel like we were like missing out
you could
on
actually
crucial information.
dig a little bit deeper into the comic book lore rather than having like, oh, the surface level of, this is how they get the powers. This is how,
But overall, I thought, I think Fantastic Four is it's got more nuance.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think, and I think multiple viewings will bring that out. So I think I think both Superman and Fantastic Four are ones that can be just sat down and you can just watch them and enjoy them. So.
Yeah, because I think you and I talked about it, especially like, well, this is before Fantastic Four movie came out, but how like the new Superman movie, it's like the more we watch it, the more we're probably going to enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the first time you're watching, you're trying to take it all in, especially Superman. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I think it's, again, a movie that you're like, oh, I could turn on and watch this. You know, like I said, especially for DC, man, it's hard to go back and rewatch their movies. I just don't. There's something about them where it seems like I have to be like it's a little bit more of a job to watch them than it is like, oh, I just want to turn on this movie and enjoy it, kind of thing. There's a lot more Marvel movies that fall into that category and just turn them on. But still, I don't rewatch. I don't think I've rewatched any of the Fantastic Four movies.
I haven't either, and I meant to watch them on leading up to the when it came out.
Yeah,
but
don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can't say that because I watched the two Superman movies for watching this one. Right. And while they're not, I would say overall the two Superman movies are better than the three Fantastic Four movies overall.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the one that came out in what was that 2016 or something like that?
Yeah. So, but I mean, the first two FF movies they're not horrible.
Right.
But they're just good. They're goofy.
Yeah.
They're kind of goofy. So
now, how did you like the way that the Thing looked, Ben Grimm?
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, he had. I mean, the level of detail.
I know. It's
surprising.
So good.
Yeah, surprising. No, I mean all the like I said, all the effects. I thought looked top notch. I like the subtlety of Reed Richards where he would stretch. Just as a natural kind of evolution, like he's writing on the blackboard and then he gets to a spot, but he doesn't move his body,
right.
he just moves his arm. He would reach across the room to grab something, that kind of natural evolution of being able to just, you don't have to move, I can just stretch, that kind of thing. You can see that when Galactus was pulling him, that he does have limits, though.
True.
That there was a limit, he was going to snap him in half. I like that. I like that Johnny's flame doesn't seem to be actual heat.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And I don't know whether that's that he can change that though. Whether he can like he absorbed heat at the beginning, obviously, so he can kind of control flame. But it doesn't seem like his flame is naturally like gonna burn. Because he turns it on almost like it's a light. And stuff. So interesting to see what that power set is. That it's not quite as just he's all heat. It's light too. And then obviously Sue Storm, not only invisibility but she's got force kind of in black force movement. I don't know.
Yeah.
She creates invisible energy.
She's definitely in this one is definitely portrayed like a lot stronger than like what the first few Fantastic Four movies.
Well, right. She's again, another good thing about the Fantastic Four, they all know how to use their powers.
Yeah, right.
Like Ben Grimm knows how to use his strength and when to use it, when not to use it. He's not accidentally crushing. He had that thing where he picked up the car and faked through it at the kids and stuff. If he was still learning his powers, he'd accidentally put the car down too hard and it would destroy it or something, and then he'd feel all bad about it. And so, it's just nice to see them with fully formed power sets that they've obviously used as a team and can use them effectively. And stuff. So
it actually has me excited that I've been, I have the two new Fantastic Four series like on order.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, because I haven't read a lot of Fantastic Four. I got the Fantastic Four full circle big comic thing. But and that's what this movie when this movie was first talked about, I was like, okay, well, I think I need to start reading some more. And when they brought out the two new ones, I was like, okay, I need to. So
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah.
Should be fun. Okay, well, I think we've talked enough about this movie. So obviously we did like it, and hopefully you guys will too. If you have anything to say personally about your experience, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, point it out in the comments. We appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.